Hey there, Tundra Nation, and welcome back to the channel. Today on Tundra Tactical, we're bringing you another edition of Ask Tundra Nation, the show where you guys, the fans, get to ask your questions to me and have them read and answered right here. So stay tuned, thanks for watching, and let's start the show. Now, we do a lot of trash talking here on Tundra Tactical, and that means we probably have quite a few people that have some less than nice things to say to our faces. I mean, just last week, the Yankee Marshall perimeter alarm went off. Fortunately, though, this was just a jump scare that our followers over on Twitch pulled on us, but it got me thinking about what happens if the little guy decides to make a nighttime raid on the Tundra HQ. Well, this week's Ask Tundra Nation is sponsored conveniently by Inforce. When it comes to lights for your rifle, pistol, or helmet, Inforce, well, they got you covered. I've been a huge fan of the Wild 1 and 2, and now I've got my eye on the WMLX2 Rifle Light Series, which has all the features of the original WML series, now with the addition of 400 milliwatts of IR output. Now I guess I have no choice but to subscribe to the Moons Out Goons Out lifestyle, and my wife hates me. Thanks, Inforce. Make sure to check them out today. Okay, guys, our first question comes from Brady MacGyver, and he wants to know what is the best, surplus rifle that I've fired or want to fire. Easy for me, that's my Swiss K11. Now, I don't know a whole lot about like the Swiss series of guns or a lot of their history on the guns. I know that thing shoots lights out to 1,000 yards. We took it out. Actually, I have some footage of it. I'll put it up while I'm talking here. But we took it out to 1,000 yards on open sights, or my housemate downstairs, he took his K31 out to 1,000 yards on open sights. Unfortunately, my eyes are not that good, and I was only able to get it out to, I think we did 500. But that's still pretty darn impressive, and what specifically makes that gun awesome is the surplus ammunition. That's very difficult to find, by the way. What is it, GP11? I think GP11. It's that silver tip bullet. Man, that stuff is like match grade ammo. I've been told it's actually probably better in some cases than match grade ammo. So while the gun is incredibly unique, and I can, like I said, go get it here and show it to you guys. But while the gun is incredibly unique because of its straight pull bolt, well, it's not unique, I guess. I mean, there's plenty of straight pull bolt stuff out there, but you don't see it a whole lot. And that's one of the reasons that kind of drew me to it. And then there's some history behind it. The cool thing about my gun is it does not have an import stamp on it. It was somehow brought into the country way back in the day, and it was never marked up or marked up with an import stamp. So it's all original markings, no extras, and yeah, I find that to be pretty darn cool. Chat in the comments below, tell me what your guys' favorite surplus rifle that you've shot, want to shoot, or even just know of is. We'll see what people have to say down below. Next on the question list is a question from Auxiliary Josh, and he would like to know if revolvers are out of the question, what semi-auto pistol should I carry for bear defense? Well, there's a couple of options. I guess it depends on how much money you have. There's a few different schools of thought here, but I think the average person that you would ask this to that has moderate knowledge of firearms is going to tell you to go with a 10 mil of some kind. So what is it, the Glock 20 is the long barrel? Is it the Glock 20 or the Glock 40? Like the actual Glock 40, not the 40. I think it's the 20, which is the long slide 10 mil. I think it would also depend on where you live, because even a lot of 10 mil, I don't know if that's gonna stop a big damn bear like a grizzly or something like that. Black bear, probably. You could probably get away with it if you split a wig or carry the right type of ammunition. But I think the 10 mil's got enough speed to where enough speed and weight behind it to where it's sufficient. This would be one of the few cases I would probably recommend a 40 if 10 mil wasn't like 40 caliber, 40 Smith & Wesson, if like 10 mil wasn't terribly available, but you had an abundance of 40, or let's say you already have one. But the longer the barrel, the better. I've said this in the past, that barrel length doesn't really add a whole lot of velocity in like the 1 to 2 inch range, or like the 1 inch range. But when you add like 2 or 2.5 inches onto it, it can make a bit of a difference, enough to hopefully save your life in that kind of situation. The other option you could kind of consider if you're looking for just raw penetration, well, You could kind of consider a 357 SIG, although I don't know if it's got enough oomph, like actual, stopping power. Rounds that I would kind of shy away from would be 45 ACP, because while it'll hit hard, I don't know if it's got enough speed to actually get into the bear. And once again, I guess it depends on how big the bear is. I'm kind of thinking in my head like a grizzly or something like that. And if you've got a little bit more money to throw at this and it's maybe a serious concern, you find yourself in bear country a lot, I think probably the best handgun on the market right now, hands down for this purpose, I don't really think there's much of a question, is the FK Bruno PSD in 7.5 FK, essentially simulating AK-47 ballistics out to 100 yards. So I can't imagine too many scenarios where you're going to be taking a 100-yard shot on a bear that you weren't actively hunting, but they've got some pretty interesting videos. There's a clip of it somewhere. If I can find it, I'll put it up. But they take down some large game with the PSD, and it worked. It looked like it worked pretty damn well. So the PSDs are running MSRP, I think 1,600 right now. They can be a little hard to find. The good news is it seems like ammunition is available for them, and it's about $1-ish around. So 9mm prices right now, essentially. That's what I would recommend, and hopefully that answers your question, my friend. Let's move on to the next one. All right, our repeat offender each and every week is back, and N7X Ranger would like to know the pros and cons of polymer and metal for handguns. He says, I want to get my first practical handgun, and I am torn between the SP01 and the P09. I will tell you right off the bat, Ranger, the SP01 is arguably my favorite gun in the entire world. I love it to death. It fits my hand perfectly, the way the beaver tail and the tang, all that sits. It is out freaking standing. The P09 is no slouch either. Honestly, I think the main answer to this question is personal preference. There are going to be a few technical differences. For example, the P09 is obviously going to be lighter, so you'll gain some carry comfort, maybe, with that, but you'll increase moderately the amount of felt recoil, and vice versa. They're both double action, single action guns, so you don't have to worry about a double action versus or a double action, single action versus striker fire. They both have a very similar slide, well, not very similar slide profile, but they have that CZ, that quote unquote CZ slide profile. So you're going to be getting a pretty solid gun regardless. And the SP01 series and the P09 have been proven across the board time and time again. So I really don't think you can go wrong, and I will take a page out of your book and throw the question back at you. Porque no los dos. Next one on the list, I am really excited for. Southern Fella wants to know the best .308 caliber rifle that is not an AR-10. This one took me a second to think about, and then I got really disappointed in myself for not thinking of this right away, because I've admitted multiple times that this is my probably favorite rifle ever built. And that will be the DSW FAL or SA58 OSW, the short barrel quad rail. There, in my opinion, there is no better looking gun on the face of the planet. When Grand Thumb did his video on that thing, man, did he do it justice. He made it look just sexy as hell. And when it comes to .308 rifles, I'm not a huge fan of the caliber because I don't do a lot of hunting and I don't need a semi-auto like special purpose rifle for most of anything, at least in my life right now. That could change, but yeah, if I were to get one, it would be probably for raw cool factor, and I just cannot find a gun that looks cooler, throws, fireballs like that thing does. It'd be 1,000,000% better if later on down the road we get our FFL and our SOT, we can make a full auto version of that, or get a full auto version of that. That would be insane. I would say it's probably my top dream gun to own. That would be my choice for the best the best .308 caliber rifle that is not an AR-10. Thanks for asking, buddy. I'm just gonna put the name up on this one because I don't know how to say it. It's in like Cyrillic or something. But this person would like to know, SBR side folding AK as a CCW winter gun, yes or no? I wear Carhartt style jackets in cold winter, and I can conceal an M9 during the summertime in clothes. Damn, all right. I think it'd be nice to have a 250-yard rifle to carry during the winter months, as not many ARs are side folders. Well, first of all, my friend, what I can tell you is I've got a couple of companies, or actually I've got a main company that you should check out. Look at Deadfoot Arms and their Fold AR series of rifles. I think you'll be very, very pleasantly surprised. I can put some footage up of us testing them out and shooting them, actually literally right before my daughter was born, like 3 days before my daughter was born. I kind of took a risk on that trip. But to answer your question, should you have one, I would say no. And the reason being, if it's a concealed carry weapon for defensive purposes, like personal defense purposes, there's no way you would find yourself in a good position, not just with like the distances involved, because one of my main arguments when people say, when people train a certain way, that's maybe not the greatest thing for self-defense or, carry training. A lot of it has to do around distance. A lot of self-defense engagements happen at contact distance within arm's reach. And that's where most of the time you're going to end up using the gun. So number one, it's a bigger, bulkier tool. Probably, if it's on a sling, it's probably harder to get off your body, which that's a pro, I guess. I just don't see it as a more viable option than a handgun. And then obviously you have the legal concern. You put a round through somebody at 50 yards. And in a lot of states, like my state, in Minnesota here, one of the 4 pillars of self-defense that we have to meet before we can employ the use of deadly force is we have to have a duty. We have to have exhausted our duty to retreat, which essentially means we have to search for a way out. And if there is no way out, and a few other conditions are met, that's when it's reasonable to use deadly force. At 50 yards, there's probably a way out, or a way that you can avoid the situation, or could have avoided the situation. The only time I could think that like a side folder would be awesome for a carry gun is if you're out in the woods a lot. If you're trail hunting, but trail hiking. Let's say you work on a farm or something, you got yotes all around, or coyotes all around. Or you have moderate concern over like maybe mountain lions, cougars, things like that, up in the mountains of, like, let's say Utah or Colorado or something. That's where it would, in my opinion, be the most effective and the most useful, also with the lowest legal concern. But at that point in time, I don't know, do you really need a side folder to conceal it? If you're on a public trail and you don't want people to see you running around with a rifle, sure, I get that. Also, is it legal to conceal rifles where you are? Some places it is, some places it isn't. So those would be the questions that I would want to ask back to you before really, don't take this as like legal advice or anything. I'm not a lawyer. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I play an idiot on the internet every week. But yeah, it would be nice to have a 250-yard rifle to carry during the winter months. But if you do find yourself gravitating towards that and you want to pick one up for whatever purpose, really, I mean it, genuinely check out Deadfoot Arms and their Fold AR series. If the video that I posted up there didn't impress you enough already, talk to Teddy and talk to Russ over there as my phone goes off, and tell them Tyler sent you over from Tundra, and have them break down how the Fold AR works. I think you'll be pretty impressed. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up for Ask Tundra Nation this week. I'm going to try, no promises, but I'm going to try to do these on a weekly basis. I don't know the exact release date, possibly Mondays, as this video goes out whenever. I don't think it'll be going out on a Monday. It'll probably go out earlier than that. But I want to say thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and make sure to join us next time when we still don't know what the f we're doing.